I forgot that I wanted to mention this in the last video. I wanted to kind of give my prediction, prophecy. I am not a prophet. I do not claim to be one, but I would like to give my prediction for like what I see is happening with the evolution of Christianity and like just humans as spiritual beings as a whole, and like how we're developing collectively. um I think we're already seeing there's like a boom in mental health awareness. I think COVID really sparked that. The COVID-19 pandemic that started in 2020 is now 2024. So we're 4 years out of that. And I think that like we're really seeing that people are now like everywhere, whereas so there was a lot of people like more in urban areas and cities, and the developed world were more like aware of like getting therapy and help for themselves, whereas some lower to middle class people didn't have access to those type of like resources of like mental health help and therapies. Like seeing a counselor is like a very I guess like a luxury. But now I think we're seeing that we know that this is necessary, and so like insurances now will cover that. And so I think we're gonna start seeing, and even just like opening up to each other, I think we're gonna start seeing more and more. I think we're already seeing it, that there's this like boom in mental health awareness. And so I think people are gonna start viewing everything more psychologically. And I read about something in my book that kind of, I touched on this a little bit, but the psychics were people who identified themselves with their like their spirit self, not their like metaphysical self, but like their spirit self, which I guess is still separate. It's not like the oneness self that's like a degree above that or whatever. But so like psychologically, like that is another understanding that we have. So we have some understandings that are just more basic, like our animalistic tendencies, like eat, fight, survive, procreate. And then we have like more of these evolved like psychological, like I want to be happy, I want to have a job that fulfills me, I want these more higher order level of things. And I think that humanity as a whole is going to like start to be more like to transcend into that state of the so there were like pneumatics, the psychics and the Gnostics, and the different I'm trying to remember what the book, but anyways, I think we're entering into this season and phase of life, like in the evolution of humanity, where we're going to see people start understanding things through a psychological lens, like through seeing the Bible as a psychological archetype. That's what I talked about in my last video. I think more and more people are going to start waking up to that way of seeing religion, instead of this very literal, dogmatic, I'm going to beat you over the head with the Bible type thing. It's an opening of awareness, a new level of consciousness, and it goes along with like what we're experiencing as individuals, and then what we're experiencing as a collective. And we're just like walking down this path of trying to understand God. and it gets deeper and deeper, at different levels of initiation. So it's not the end, because I don't think there is one, but I do think heaven is being brought to earth. I think it's an ever slowly evolving thing, and it's so beautiful. It's just another stage in the beautiful walk of life. The psychological one that we're gonna enter, and I'm pretty sure that I just blanked on his name. Carl Jung. Carl Jung. I've been reading a lot of Carl Jung, so I guess I'm super like influenced by that, and that's maybe why I'm coming from this place. But he kind of predicted this, that he said the age of Aquarius will be like the reconciling of opposites. And the one that Jesus was, I just finished reading the book Aeon. It was pretty good. And before that, I had read the Red Book, so that's kind of like the foundation I'm coming from. But and both of those are written by Carl Jung. And Aeon, in it, he says that the age that he really talks a lot about, the age of Pisces, which is what Jesus was in, and he talks a lot about the fish symbolism. How Jesus said, "I'll make you fishers of men," and we kind of lost this as through Christianity, but he was identified as like the fish symbol. People still put the little fish symbols on their car to say they're a Christian. That's like he really unpacks that in the book, but it's the age of Pisces, and so it had its characteristics. But now we're entering into the age of Aquarius, which is he says it's going to be reconciling of opposites. But then he also says that you can't choose evil, or evil won't be able to just hide out anymore. It's going to be fully exposed, and I think we're really seeing that. And all of those like evil shadow people who we want to like blame for everything, they're gonna like come out to the light and then just be dissolved. We're not gonna have to like fight these unseen enemies that we think are holding us back. The elites that are in power, and they're like child sacrificers and traffickers, and it's like all the conspiracy theories that like we feel like we have to like find these people, and just all of it is going to just go away. Like, and I'm not saying like, oh, that's how you should deal with your problems, just like wait for them to go away. It's like just as turning on this light is that easy. It's the awareness, the light of awareness. Like, people are waking up, people realize that there's like, these aren't just conspiracy theories. And so once that happens and more people are like accepting of these like dark shadows in humanity, then we turn the light on to them, and they flee the light, they go away, whatever, they die. And then as a whole, we need to reconcile the opposites of like Christians and non-Christians. Like, not this like, well, you're terrible and you're going to hell, and it's not like that. It's love your neighbor as yourself. And like, who is harder to love but then the person who's living next door to you, who you're like so tired of seeing it? Like, that's what it is. It's love your neighbor as yourself. That's the embodiment of it. But yeah, just so to kind of wrap up what I'm saying is like, I think we're entering an age of psychology of everyone, the earth as a whole, kind of like more becoming like understanding of the inner workings of the mind and consciousness, and so connecting with God on that deeper level, not just the like physical material, like, oh, I got chill bumps in church and I put my hands in the air. No, it's like this deep inner knowing, the peace of God, the love that transcends like no matter what, like world peace finally. And I think it's a great age that we're entering, and COVID was just trying to kind of set back what they already knew was going to happen. That the powers that don't want to be exposed kind of trying to like put the brakes on, but they can't. they can't do it any longer, because we're actually, I don't know if you've seen any lately. I haven't seen many people talking about this, but there's been sun flares, like huge activity with the sun, especially this year in 2024. We've seen northern lights down here in the south. I live in North Carolina. I didn't see them, but I saw my friends post pictures on Facebook of what they saw. And just this week, it's today's August 1st, so like the tail end of July 2024, there's been geomagnetic storms from these solar flares. So the Earth is being impacted like vibrationally, magnetically. It's getting like charged up by the sun. And so we're going to feel those things. And it's not like you can not like decide like, oh, I'm not going to be affected by the geomagnetic storms. Like, you can't. So it's like we're being supercharged. Our environment is like supercharging us into this enlightened state of where we're going to be like forced to evolve and like no longer cling to these like old ways that don't work anymore. We're being forced into peace, forced into love. And it's not like a forcing of, like, people love to say, you know, we have free will and everything like that. And like, this is what we want. This is what humanity is crying out for, is like change. These systems that we've built, like the IRS, like taxes, like they've enslaved us. But we are the ones that created them. Like, we are the ones to blame. You can't blame somebody else for all that our world is, because we've all been co-creating it all along. And I do believe in reincarnation now. So it's like I was in the past building what there is today. Like, even though I'm 33, I can say I'm one with all people and with God. And so I've created this like monster matrix. You know, if you've seen the Matrix movies, it's like I've created this thing that I hate. How can I get out of it? And it's like God and His goodness. And in my last video, I kind of talked about how God doesn't have a face or hands, or like He's not an embodiment of a person. So how I view Him now is like He is the power that is sustaining and holding all order and things in balance. He like initially set the ball into motion, and He's still like holding all the planets in their orbits. Like, and that's more of like how I see Him, is He's like this constant ordering law of like power. And so He's not concerned with me like having premarital sex. He's not like cursing me, you know, with increased labor pains. Like, that's something that I have created for myself over time, like as experiencing a human. And so He is a part of me. He is in me, experiencing the world through me. So anyways, God in His goodness, in that force that's like maintaining the orbits, planets, and all the alignments of the stars and everything, He is electromagnetically charging the earth through the sun in order to help us stimulate this change that we need, where we won't keep like destroying our planet and just like consuming materials because it's empty. And we know at our core that we just want to be like out in nature again, like the Native Americans. We want to be with our families and just having clean food, not this like artificial, terrible, and like modern agriculture is destroying the planet worse than anything. And so just getting back to those like the goodness that we used to have, but also keeping the knowledge and the like transcendedness that we have. So yeah, I think God in His goodness is using the sun to electromagnetically charge up the earth, and so that in turn is going to affect us and help us to like transcend these old ways and ideologies that no longer serve us, so that we can have a better life in a better world. And that's what I think the Bible is doing when it says that heaven comes to earth. In Revelation, it's not like a bam thing. It's like a slow progression. In Daniel, he talks about he saw a small stone cut without hands, and it grew and it took over the whole world. And Jesus said it's like a mustard seed that you plant, and then it grows, and it's a really small seed, and then it becomes the biggest tree ever, and the birds lodge in it. So that I think is the kingdom of God, is within us. It's like you can't see it. It's not going to be a one-time thing. Oh, heaven comes to earth and it's an actual crystal city, Jerusalem, with so many walls. Like, I think even that is like sacred geometry, like Pythagorean theorem, and all of the stuff that it's way over my head. But there's like math, God. Like, math and numbers are very ordered and like mysterious, and like the way like a snail shell, and like in nature how a fern like uncurls it's a spiral, that there's like a mathematical equation behind that and stuff. And so yeah, I think that's kind of what was going on with Revelation, and saying how many walls there were and the cubits and all. There's like a sacred geometry behind that. So anyways, I think we're entering into the age of Aquarius, which is going to be the reconciliation of opposites, and it's going to be a psychological way of understanding our world, God, others, ourselves, and just another step in the journey of life, another level of initiation of like seeing ourselves through a psychological lens. And it's good, it's healthy, it's nothing to be afraid of. It's what we need, it's what our collective humanity is asking for, and so that's what is manifesting. So yeah, hopefully I like unpacked what I wanted to say in that. But that's my prediction for our future, is that we're going to enter into an age of psychologically understanding ourselves and God, and like the age of psychology, I guess. Okay. Bye.